Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're all doing fantastic. Hope you and your families are okay during this period of uncertainty. Today, I thought I'd upload a video on 20 things you can do during this quarantine period. I won't actually be talking about the virus itself because I'm not qualified to. So this video is going to comprise of two parts. The first part is going to be about things that you can do with your family. So activities that you can do with your family if you live with them currently. And then the second part will be about things that you can do by yourself. So if you don't live with your family and you live on your own, for example, in an apartment or something. So the first thing I thought about, which you could do with others, family or friends, if you're living with them, is board games. So most people will have board games like, I don't know, chess or other board games like Monopoly or Scrabble lying around. So that's probably the first thing that I do is probably dust those things off and maybe play a couple rounds with some friends or family. And then the second thing I thought about was another pretty obvious one, so playing multiplayer co-op games with your family. So that could be like video games. So like I know a couple, I'll link them in the description, like Into the Gungeon or Wizard of Legend, or two of my favorite ones. I'll link them. You'd obviously need a strong enough laptop. Third thing I thought about was maybe playing Hangman. So a Hangman and other such games, you'd only need a pen and a paper. So like tic-tac-toe, Hangman. I know those games would probably be very short-lasted, but they're a little fun thing to help pass the time every now and again. Another thing that you guys could do was indoor activity games. So like hide and seek. Running around the house isn't usually the best option, but if you've got like a garden or a backyard, you guys could play soccer or football to help pass the time. So that's another thing that you guys can do. And then this sort of relates back to the previous point that I made about board games, but you guys could play chess with each other. The good thing about playing chess, and I'm sure they have such things for other board games, but the one that I've actually played with myself is chess. You can get the chess app if you guys don't have a board, and you guys can play online against each other or against other people. The sixth thing that I thought of is actually gardening. Now obviously you'd need a garden, so if you live in an apartment building with a couple of friends and family, you most likely won't have a garden. So this is something for people out there with gardens. Maybe dust off that handy shovel and maybe plant some plants if you got any lying around. Seventh thing is to watch a good movie. So movies are probably one of the best options out there, movies and series, because they take the most time and they're probably one of the funnest things that you could do with friends. I'll also link to a site in the description which has a lot of other interesting activities that you guys can do with your friends and family. So now we're going to move on to the second part of the video. So things that you could do by yourself. A lot of people also won't be living with their family, or they'll be living in an apartment building. I know a lot of students most likely will be living by themselves. Here are 12 things that you could do by yourself. Note that a couple of them will repeat from the things you could do with your friends and family because there's the sort of crossover between them. So first thing is learn how to cook. So I know a lot of people will be living by themselves, and if you're living by yourself, then learning how to cook is a very useful skill to have. So maybe learn how to cook new foods. Now that you're by yourself, you'll have a little bit more of that extra time. Learn how to cook, and that'll obviously not only help you spend time now, but it'll also help you in the future. And actually another thing that you could do is probably go and clean up your room or apartment. So this will pass the time, and you'll probably end up feeling a little better if everything's a little less cluttered up. Maybe it'll make staying in your room a little bit more tolerable. Third thing, which is actually really important, relates back to physical health, is that you should definitely try to work out. So if you don't have actual weights yourself, maybe go and actually buy some if there are any on sale. I know that they've probably been in short supply with this outbreak going on. Or you could try to make your own. I'll also link a site in the description. And then depending on your country and restrictions, obviously different countries will have different ways on how to tackle the current outbreak. But if your country allows for it, then why not go for a walk? You maybe put on some headphones and nice music, relaxing music, and just, spend some time out in nature. And then the fifth thing, which is actually something that I'm doing right now, is maybe make your own YouTube video. Why not make some YouTube videos, give some extra information to help other people out if you've got a lot of free time. That's also another thing that you could do, but obviously you need editing software, a good enough laptop to edit. You need microphone. Personally, I'm using my iPhone microphone, so yeah. Another thing that I thought you could do is maybe go and call up some friends and family. So if you're by yourself, maybe it's time to maybe call up mom or dad or a brother or sister or some old friends to see how they're doing. The seventh thing, which is probably going to be the hardest for a lot of people, is maybe learn how to start your own business. You know, you've got a lot of extra time. After this situation ends, there will obviously be very uncertain times economic wise. So why not learn how to start your own business and maybe get ahead of everything? Eighth, which is probably most of you guys have been doing, is maybe start a new game that you've been wanting to play. Personally, I just started Red Dead Redemption 2, but if you've got some games that you've been wanting to play for a while and you've got a good enough PC, you know, that's a way to spend some time off. So another really good thing that I would recommend to everyone is maybe create your own schedule. You know, these are pretty hard times, and if you don't have a schedule that you can follow, obviously not too strictly, you might lose track of things and you might start to slack off in certain areas of life. So definitely leave time for other important activities that you personally would want to do. And then another thing is, if this applies to you, then sit down and study. I mean, if you've got school, if you still got school, I know personally in the UK they've cancelled all the schools and they've cancelled A-level and GCSE exams. But nevertheless, you know, why not sit down and study some of your content? You know, you never know when it'll be useful to you in the future. And if you do have exams coming up, then why not sit down and study? 11th, which is actually quite important as well, is you should definitely try to listen to some music. Maybe lay down on your bed and listen to some music and relax a bit. You know, it's been a hard year for everyone, I'm sure. And taking a couple of minutes, 10 to 15 minutes every day to lay down in your bed, listen to some nice calming music and get energized for the day is always a good thing. It helps a lot of people. Most importantly, I definitely listen to the healthcare system and healthcare providers in your country, because they'll definitely know best what to do during this uncertain time. I've also linked a couple of other really good sources, so like the WHO and CDC in the description. Their advice and your country's advice would definitely be worth listening to. Of course, don't get too worried about the numbers. It's definitely good to maybe check the news once or twice a day to get updated on the current situation. Try not to listen to too much news, because I know a lot of people get worried and anxious from the news, so definitely try to maintain your mental health, which is probably the most important thing you can do. Finally, which is probably one of the most important things that anyone can tell you, is remember to laugh and have a good time. You know, this is a very sad time and everyone's very stressed out now, but it's important to remember that this, like everything else, will be over one day. And if you can maintain good physical and mental health, then you'll end up coming through this as a winner. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.